Today, I want us to do a couple of exercises together. Think for a moment about something you know with absolute certainty is going to happen. Something simple. Imagine that tomorrow you have a flight at 8 in the morning and you've already bought the ticket, you already have your seat, you've already made the hotel reservation where you're going to stay. And what do you do today? Today you pack your suitcase.
You set the alarm. You check your documents.
You even calculate the time you have to leave home and order your Uber. And you have your whole itinerary of what you're going to do when you arrive at your destination. And deep down, you do all this because you're already counting on that flight, right? You're not walking around your house like a caged lion saying, I hope the plane exists tomorrow, or I hope I can travel, or wondering, what if it doesn't happen?
No, in your mind, the trip is already part of your reality, and that's why you start acting accordingly.
Now, imagine that you start to see what you want to create in your life in the same way. Not from the I hope it happens, nor from the I'm trying to manifest, but from my journey is inevitable. This is inevitable. And for me, there's a huge difference here, because when something seems inevitable to you, you stop constantly negotiating with the possibility that it won't happen.
Think about two people who decide to get in shape.
They want to look and feel better, and they start their training on exactly the same day, a Monday. Both buy sportswear, both sign up at the gym, both decide that it's time, but internally they are coming from different places. The first one thinks, I'm gonna try to lose weight. Let's see how long I last, or I hope I don't quit again. And the second one tells herself something very different and thinks, I'm going to get in shape. I don't know exactly how long it will take, but this is going to happen.
So, don't you notice the difference?
The first one is trying out a possibility, and the second one has already made a decision. And then Thursday comes, and both are tired, but while one keeps going, the other doesn't feel like training anymore.
And that's where the difference is.
When something is just a possibility, every little obstacle makes you doubt again, and you ask yourself, should I go or not? Should I keep going or give up? Will all this effort be worth it?
But when you've already decided internally, the question is very different.
And you no longer ask yourself if you're going to make it. Now you ask yourself, what do I have to do today to keep moving forward?
And from there, you make your decisions.
From this new state, you stop using your current circumstances as excuses to decide what is possible or not for you.
Because normally we do exactly the opposite.
We want something, we look at our reality, and then we decide how likely it is to happen. You want to start a business, and you immediately question whether you have the skills or the resources. You want a different relationship, and you look back at your past experiences.
And you use evidence from the past to dictate your future.
But what would happen if you stopped doing that? What would happen if you stopped looking at what happened yesterday to decide what could happen tomorrow?
And if you understood that what you're experiencing today is not a verdict on your future, but simply a point on the path where you are right now.
Because you're crossing a bridge. Imagine you're driving from your house to the beach. You've been on the road for 2 hours and you look around and all you see are mountains, asphalt, and cacti. There's no beach, no sand, no sea, and no visual evidence of your destination. Tell me, do you stop in the middle of the road and say, it didn't work? Of course not, right? Because you understand that just because you can't see the destination doesn't mean you're not moving toward it. However, with our desires, we do the opposite. We make a decision, but we're constantly looking at our reality to check if our decision was right and if things still haven't changed. We start to doubt, and we react and go back to thinking the way we did before. And it's like you end up making a U-turn to go back home when you were already halfway to the beach. And all because the outside world still hasn't confirmed it for you. So what are you letting take control today?
Your state or your circumstances?
Neville kept repeating it and tells us, assume the state of the wish fulfilled. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. And in general, we reduce this teaching to a simple technique of visualizing or affirming, but assuming is much deeper. Assuming is deciding what inner state you're going to live from.
It's to stop asking the outside world who you are being.
And when you do it, something fascinating happens. Because when you truly decide that something is going to happen, you stop asking yourself if it's possible. And at that moment, your mind, because of its own analytical nature, starts looking for ways. It starts connecting the dots and noticing opportunities that previously went unnoticed.
And that's how your attention works.
Out of all the information around you, you're only aware of a small part, and your mind filters and discards the rest. And when something becomes truly important to you, you start to notice things that just weren't on your radar before. And this doesn't contradict Neville's teaching. It's one thing to try to control the how, and a very different thing to pay attention to the path that starts to reveal itself. It's like what he called the bridge of incidents. You assume the end, but you don't know the path that will take you there. But we want to see the whole journey before taking the first step. When there are parts you can't see from where you're standing today. Maybe it was never about knowing the how? It's about trusting your assumption enough to allow the how to reveal itself. And then you move forward. Observe, make decisions, correct when necessary, but never confuse a change of direction with a change of destination. You can change the method, you can change the plan, and you might end up arriving by a completely different path than you imagined. The path may change, but the decision remains. That is true certainty. It's not about saying, I want to know or I know how it's going to happen, but rather having the audacity to say, I don't need to know how it's going to happen to trust that it will happen.
And from there, you stop controlling every move.
Because acting as if it were inevitable doesn't mean having all the answers. It means there's a question you stopped asking yourself, and that is it possible?
Because you already decided that.
Now you just move forward, observe, trust, and allow the path to reveal itself. Because now you remember that the path can change, but the decision remains. So this is the idea I have for you today. I hope it makes sense in some way and that you enjoyed it too. If you have questions, experiences, or anything else, please let me know in the comments. And if you would like to go even deeper, you can join our Escuela Metafísica de ETM Plus, where you have access to exclusive live training from me. You'll find meditations, a live book club, and super detailed modules for your transformation. Plus, the wonderful community we've built. And honestly, I have to say it's full of amazing people from all over the world, like-minded individuals, and I'm sure you're going to love it.
So I'll leave the link in the description box.
And again, thank you so much for your time and for listening to me. And without further ado, from Domina tu Mente, I'll see you in the next video. See you soon.